Alright. Alright. Hello, everyone. My name is Master Starman, and welcome to tonight's stream here. We're gonna get ready for some more Metroid Other M. Who is ready for some Other M? It's been a very long time since I last played this game. I genuinely don't know the last time I played this. I want to say it was a few months ago now, I think. Well, I know it has been a few months ago. It's just because I haven't. It's been a little while since we played this, but we're gonna play some more of it here tonight. Yeah, I know about all this Ridley shenanigans. And okay, so that description gave us no good. Shoo! Excuse me. No good indication of where I was last going. That's good to see and hear. Shoot. What was I doing last time? En route to Sector 1. Is that where I'm at right now? I genuinely could not tell ya. Okay, no, this is the entrance to the sector, so... Yeah, okay, this is Sector 1 I'm in right now, okay. So, I guess I just gotta explore Sector 1 here now. Eventually find something or other. I guess part of the problem with me not playing this game in a long time is now I genuinely could not tell you what we were doing last time we played this game. Man, I forgot how weird the controls in this game were, considering this is a D-pad game. But, alright. I love having plasma beam sometimes. Just gotta remember the weird, awkward, like, shift into first person for... Is there... What is this here? Something I can't even target. It looks like something suspicious though. Okay, well, okay, I guess we are making progress here for getting a cutscene from some guy. Jerk guy running down this building. Oh. Down this way and figure out what the heck most of that was about there. Oh, I think I need a grapple beam here, maybe? Definitely just something here. Tank? Oh, missile tank, okay, nice. a good eye for that there. There is something up there, though. I see. If I can grab it still. How do I get up there? Maybe the game just doesn't want me getting that yet. Unless it has something to do with this. I doubt it, considering the game. Actually, hold on. I wonder if I can get this with a Shine Spark here. First, let me see. I think I could probably maybe get this with a Shine Spark. It looks like I have enough distance to get a speed boost going here. Yep. That is exactly what I do for that there. Can't keep me hiding in the dark. Energy part. An energy part. Instead of a piece of heart, it's an energy part. Sure, yeah, okay, I am actually being heard here. Was the stream recently where, not that this was new for too long here. I love that this was an automated sequence here, by the way. Why am I looking around in first person here? Okay. I was gonna say that we had
objections, Adam?
Okay, so we're just gonna authorize. Alright, let's just authorize the space jump and screw attack for Earth. Okay then. And we can use this infinitely to varying results there, but sure, why not? I figured we would have had enough room before to just do a Shine Spark for that, though. I don't know why. Kind of the vibe I got there anyway before. And that was now locked there anyway. Whatever. But, yeah, I guess we had the power to authorize ourselves and weren't taking it, I guess, for some reason. Because reasons. Oh, great, we're back in Resident Evil territory here. Oh god, this is... tank controls are definitely a bizarre thing. Okay, no, never mind, we're not in tank control land anymore. Anything on these here? Guess not. I was kind of thinking there might have been something on those monitors there. Now I think we have almost every major upgrade now, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, no, we don't have power bombs yet, never mind. I guess that's fine though. Keep trying to be tense on us. The door we looked at a second ago kind of looked like one of those Emmy doors in Dread.
I'm not a member of the Galactic Federation. I came here because I intercepted the distress call. I'm a bounty hunter. And I know that something is after you. Please, you must believe me. Thank you. I'm Samus Aran. What's your name?
Oh boy. This is...
Madeline Bergman. Behind closed doors, the Galactic Federation was trying to create a special forces unit composed of bioweapons. In order to make it happen, they were attempting to create an organization modeled after the space pirates, with the Zebesians at the center. But because of a certain presence, the life forms became ferocious. We were no longer able to control them.
By a certain presence, she must have meant Ridley. So you sent out the distress signal, even though it endangered your life?
It amazes me that this game
I
has
had
some of the
to.
best, like,
I felt
CGI
there was a
and it's
real
on
danger here,
Wii of all
that if left
things.
as is, the Zebesians would continue to evolve and resurrect as real space pirates.
If that danger was real, then the risk of withholding information to protect herself was too great, clearly. And yet, wasn't she the one who set the facility's system to self-destruct? In silence, I praised her courage and sense of responsibility. At the same time, her argument had some holes. Say that the Zebesians, under Ridley's influence, became super aggressive. Would that really lead to the resurrection of the space pirates? Without a malicious force to lead them down that path, wouldn't they continue to merely follow their instincts, ultimately becoming no more than a swarm of feral creatures?
I don't think
Regardless,
that's what the space pirates
it was
are,
clear
but
that the
okay
Galactic
then.
Federation was ready to consign their enormous mistake to oblivion. And that's why they sent a deleter. And as for Madeline and others who knew the secret? But wait, there was another inconsistency in her story. Why go to such lengths at all? With just a small flexing of the Galactic Federation's military force, they should have been able to destroy a facility of this scope with ease. So why didn't they?
Actually, there was an even more dangerous plan. Come with me.
Oh boy. Even more dangerous plan. I don't even know, like... I've checked out of this story aeons ago at this point.
What? That's not possible. The Metroids were terminated along with Zebes. Yes. And the last of them, the baby, met its end above my head.
You're Samus Aran, right? The one who annihilated the space pirates? Metroid remnants were attached to your suit when you returned from Zebes. They were reproduced from a piece of cell structure salvaged by the Federation, and they are in this facility.
I didn't think they were absorbed with the suit. I thought they were absorbed to Samus
I
herself.
gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
And Ridley in the same way.
I was gonna say, isn't
At first,
Samus,
no one
like,
thought that the creature
part
was Ridley.
Metroid, like, straight up?
They
or-
didn't think it had potential as a bioweapon at
Okay,
all.
no, never mind. I'm thinking.
They raised it like a pet.
I'm thinking of
calling
how
it
the
Little
story is
Birdie.
presented in Metroid Fusion, which takes place after
Until
this
one day,
game.
it
Because in that one,
attacked
she's
one of
actually
the
injected with
researchers and got
Metroid
away.
DNA as a vaccine.
Ridley had played dead and lured the scientist into his cage.
That has more
What was
relevance
left?
in Metroid Dread anyway, but yeah.
It was a horrible sight.
One regards
But
this
in order to
story as
control
canon very
Metroids,
much.
You need Mother Brain's telepathy. You don't. You didn't recreate a Mother Brain clone, did you?
It's artificial intelligence. We developed an AI program that would reproduce Mother Brain's thought processes.
Oh god, AI.
We called it
Everyone's favorite
MB.
artist
But it was just a program.
trope
It
there.
wasn't the Mother herself.
MB evolved as it communicated with the Metroids. It appears as though it began to become self-aware, much like the original Mother Brain. It's really quite remarkable.
That's when it became clear to me just why Madeline was so afraid of the space pirate's resurrection. It wasn't that her story had holes in it. Through the holes were glimpses of the danger that was right before her eyes. If everything she said was true... Where are the Metroids and MB?
They're in an area called Sector 0. It's a unit that doesn't appear in any of our map data. It's a place like Turian, where we propagate and raise Metroids.
I began to see what the worst-case scenario would look like. The ultimate weapon, the Metroid, would be mass-produced, and as soon as an AI that could control them was developed, the plan to create a special forces unit modeled after the space pirates was replaced. But as the AI called MB spun out of control, the facility became a place much like the planet Zebes. If the situation were left alone, galactic society would be put in peril. Even the ringleaders of the operation wanted to avoid that, but they still wanted the Metroids. And that's why they decided to capture the Metroids contained in Sector 0 and delete the rest of the facility, including the space pirates, Ridley, and everyone who knew the secret. But before the ringleaders could act, Adam appeared. Adam might have known or suspected the truth about the facility from the beginning. Regardless, since the ringleaders were members of the Galactic Federation, they could no longer act recklessly. And so a deleter was installed as a member of Adam's team to destroy evidence and plan each subsequent move.
I kind of see where they were going for with this story, but I have
Having me added on
long
as a member
since
must have
checked it
disrupted the
out.
Galactic Federation's plans. Madeline, thanks for telling me all this. I've got to destroy the Metroids and MB in Sector 0.
Samus, don't be so gullible.
You have to remain hidden. Don't worry. The Galactic Federation CO who's here now will help you. You're safe.
Does that CO happen to be Commander Adam Malkovich? The real leader of this operation is Commander Malkovich. I can't believe that he's here.
Stay here until I return.
Yes, please. well, that was a whole lot of plot dump. Very long and, quite frankly, nearly useless plot dump. What's showing here? Red one used to having a slide, and still had that. This part a lot smoother here. So where am I going here? I need to find a path to Sector 0, I guess, but how I get there is... Not sure I'm liking the noise for that. Doing damage with the screw attack there, but it's... pathway or not. Again, like, I've been streaming this game on and off since like this last April, and it's currently November now, so like, I don't know, that's more than 6 months. I kind of just want to get this done because by no means should this game take this long. Playing this game like I would Persona 5, which is basically all I've been playing as of late. I got really salty at a point I got to last night, because I ended up dying against something that I don't even think was really my fault in a dungeon that had like, or a palace that had like no save points pretty much. So I ended up having to, to a common-ass enemy that wasn't even difficult, so it was like, yeah, you can't, retry here, you have to go back to your last save point, and we're not going to save any of the progress you made, and it was like over an hour that I was playing. I was like, I just don't want to do this right now. I love that love that I appeared to have been hit during a cutscene there. Did you just drop power bombs there? Or oh, seeker missiles. That feels incredibly situational right now. And where the fudge would I even use seeker missiles at in this anyway? I don't feel like I've seen any spots like that. I'm one of the few who does like the seeker missiles in other Metroid games. Maybe I've... Particularly like Prime 2 and 3, I always did kind of have a soft spot for those items. I know they're probably worse than the super missiles in almost every other way, but... I don't know, I kind of always did have a soft spot for them in some ways. Metroid Dread definitely did get those items right, though. Like with the Storm Missile.
This elevator is bound for the main sector.
So it's going down to Sector 2 for something then.
This elevator is bound for Sector 2.
So yeah, I think I mentioned this the other day, but I did end up going and getting a haircut there recently. So let's be going in that direction. I was gonna say, how do I get in here? But sure. Missile tank, I'll take that. Since I'm probably not gonna be using very many missiles here, but it's all good anyway. I don't know, this, honest to God, I don't even really feel like 100%ing this game, which is really bizarre for me, because usually that was something I like doing in other Metroid games, but I don't know, man, I don't really feel like doing that for this game, if I'm being real. Which way do I want to be? I think this way is probably going to be the better two options to go. This one already got speakers. I just not... Okay, I guess I just didn't get this last time I was in the area. Huh. I'm assuming this is where I still need to be. Yeah, okay, there looks like there was a pathway I couldn't go down here originally. Yeah, I just never go in this doorway. I don't like, I have been in this area. Yeah, I've definitely been here. I have definitely been in this area here. I feel like I've definitely been down some of these areas here before. No, this area does... Actually, this looks like... Yeah, this does need seeker missiles here. Okay, then. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we are actually in brand new territory here now, because I wouldn't have had seeker missiles before, so... Oh. That's... not trivia or nothing, no sir. Probably nothing up here if I had to guess, but... This is honestly kinda neat. Like, this game came out, like, the same year as Mario Galaxy 2 did, and... This might be a little here, but that's not so nice. Clear as day something in this area, but I'm not sure where it's necessarily. There we go. Normal territory here. camera angles messing with me, like pre-fixed camera angles messing with me. It's just insane. I was gonna say, what's messing with my ability? Oh no, not these things. These things being quite the pain in the arse to deal with here. Okay, not so much with the plasma beam, but now we're dealing with bad gravity here. Adventures of bad gravity. Adventures of Rad Gravity actually seems like a pretty cool game, but yeah, this is some trippy ass crap going on here, though. Unless that doesn't seem to be a grapple point here at all. Unless I can get a Shine Spark going here. I don't know if there's enough room for it here. If we can we even get a Shine Spark going here? Weird gravity crap going on here. There's a gravity point here, I'll give one honest effort here. Normally this would be enough room to have a speed boost, but yeah, this quality, it's not doing enough to get the Shine Spark going here, so yeah, let's not bother with that, I guess. I guess I could use this for something. Probably use it to actually progress here. Well, I thought there's a lot of strong gravity, yet we can still do a wall jump just fine. Like I feel like in a realistic situation, a wall jump would also be just as gimped. Okay. How do I... Okay, I guess just like that, so... Ooh, that looks... If there is something here, this looks like it. This looks like it's gonna be like... Is there really, like... I feel like there should be something here that you can get. Probably not. I feel like if this was like Super Metroid, there'd almost, or like some sort of like 16-bit game, there'd almost be some sort of like secret you could get there, but probably not. Oh, I can move freely again. Oh yeah, I can actually move freely again. pathway leads into Sector 0, huh? You just know there's gonna be some crap in the way, though. Just know it. There's totally a boss fight in this room here. Do that there, but I know of at least one boss that's supposedly in this game that I know we haven't seen yet, so I'm guessing this might be where they would show up. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Check it out, it's one of like the fan favorite bosses from Metroid Fusion, except without half the stuff that makes that fight memorable apparently. Because yeah, this is Nightmare. There we go. Hey, boy. Playing some Metroid Other M with who doesn't know the meaning of the word slowdown here, even though I think it's to the intent of it. Out of missiles. Good thing I can recharge them. Yeah, it's probably been about 3 or 4 months since I last played this game, and I don't really have a good reason why other than it's Other N. Oh shoot. What am I supposed to do with this part when the gravity gets like that? Congrats to Hero on finishing Other End, though. Oh, I get it, because, yeah, the charge shot's Ice Beam. I forgot all about that. That makes a lot more sense with what we're doing there, man. Okay, this guy is not as intimidating looking as he once was. There's no way this boss is over yet. This fight is like the most notorious one in Metroid Fusion. Don't tell me that was seriously it. There's no way Nightmare... Wow, Nightmare just died like that. That's normally, like... Most people remember that fight more for Metroid Fusion. Ironically... Okay, here's the weird thing. Like, I remember in my Let's Play of the game, I said... I didn't think he was, like, I acknowledged him as being a difficult boss fight, but I was like, yeah, I don't think he's that bad. And then he was one of the very few times in the game I actually died to, so clearly I was right and wrong that he is somewhat difficult. This is also an automated thing. Half this game, I don't even know if this game really should count chronologically or not, because the story of Other M makes, like, the least a bit of sense compared to any other Metroid game. I've kind of long since checked myself out of this story. Although, actually, hold on. I want to go back for a second. There was a number of items I saw on the way here that I couldn't do anything about. Yeah, that is true. He does first appear in this game chronologically, but in game timeline in Fusion. Which, interestingly enough, and this is gonna make people feel really old here, but Fusion and Prime are both about to turn 20 years old this month, which is... Oh, is this still under the really bad gravity stuff here? I guess it is, huh? Okay, never mind. I guess I'm not doing anything here. Yeah, Fusion and Prime are both about to turn 20 this month, which is kind of wild. Also, thanks for the loading screen, game. Nice shine spark up to the top here. Maybe, but I just instead shot a charge shot first instead, so... I don't know what the point of these grapple things here is. Layout of this room also kind of reminds me a little bit of the final boss of Phantom Hourglass. Which is a weird, kind of weird thought, but yeah, I remember that a little bit anyway. It takes place between Super Metroid and Fusion. I knew that. Yeah, I've finished Dread when the weekend that game came out. I actually have started another playthrough of Dread, and I'm actually at the final boss of that on hard mode, but I just kind of stopped playing at that point because I was like, that fight can be rough. That fight can be rough on normal, let alone. Yeah, I thought that was a really neat thing. I had a feeling it was going to... I kind of want to talk a little bit about something with Dread when, like, in regards to that. I don't think this... I don't know if this would be much of a I don't want to say much of a spoiler or not. I guess I'll ask you if you finished Dread yet, Billy. I'm not, like... I think I had kind of... Okay. I think for me, as weird as it is, I almost had too high of hopes going into Dread. And I think maybe my first impression kind of gave me the thought of maybe this story isn't what I thought it was going to be, but I think I've grown to appreciate Dread's story a lot more now. Because I remember seeing in the previews and, like, some of the articles Nintendo was, like, tweeting about, like, they were kind of teasing up the X-Parasites and a bunch of other shit, and I was like, are we gonna have, like... this is a weird thought, but I thought we were gonna have, like, a big, like... First of all, I'm gonna preface this saying, for anyone watching this who... This is a Dread spoiler here. Skip ahead, like, a few seconds if you don't want to hear this, but... I figured when I heard the X-Parasites were gonna be in the thing, I thought that we were gonna get, like, a big-ass, like, confrontation between, like, Samus, the Emmys, Ravenbeak, and... I have to take this phone call seriously. And, when I saw that the X-Parasites were coming back, I thought that was gonna also mean a return of the SAX as well, which that wasn't the case. I have to take a phone call. I'll be right back here. Alright, sorry about that. Just had to take that phone call there. I have a feeling we're kind of starting to approach some stuff here, though. I can only move forward here. I can't move back or left or right at all here. And we're definitely going to be attacked by something here. Oh, fun.
Baby.
Oh no. Oh no. Are we really at this point now? Yeah, show us a flashback of Metroid 2 now, why don't you? I almost looked away for like 2 seconds wondering just what the hell went wrong here. Boy, fun. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying earlier, Bowie, about that.
Samus.
Like, that was kind of what my first
Can you hear my voice?
impression of that. What I thought
read
was
you.
going to happen, but
Loud and
Yeah.
clear. Adam.
oh boy, it's probably time for like 20 minutes
You
of
know what lies up
soapbox
ahead. The
stuff
Metroids
here.
and the artificial intelligence that controls them. The fruit of the Galactic Federation's twisted project.
Yes. So why did you shoot me?
You can't destroy these Metroids.
What do you mean?
Sector Zero Metroids most likely can't be frozen.
What are
Why
you
does Adam just look more like he
talking about?
belong in like I don't know, like Final Fantasy VII or something?
There's a
Like, I
strong
don't know why
likelihood
he's
that
giving
the
me
Metroid's
like
mortal weakness, the vulnerability to cold,
I don't know why
has
he's
been
giving me like
overcome through
Zack
genetic
Fair vibes
manipulation.
for some reason.
And if that's true,
I don't know, that's
There's
probably
no
a
way
weird
you can
thought,
destroy
but
them.
it's
But that baby earlier. The infant Metroid. You were able to freeze it.
true. My guess is that it was because it was still in a larval stage. But who can say? One thing's for certain. They're definitely propagating Metroids.
oh yeah, like the Federation
Developing
hasn't done that
bioweapons with
before.
an obvious and fatal flaw would be suicide. It's hard to imagine the military mass-producing defective weapons. Then again, none of this makes sense. Metroids are lethal. Their extinction was a wise
Yeah,
decision.
he does look like a Tetsuya Nomura designed
And now,
character.
since no one has the technology to defeat them, they cannot be allowed to exist.
Hang on, Adam. First, I need to know why you're credited as the creator of the Metroid military program report.
I received the request to write the report from Galactic Federation headquarters. In that report, I outlined the potential dangers of such a program and explained categorically why it shouldn't be attempted. HQ listened, but a small group within the Federation co-opted my report for its own purposes. Samus, you'll be fully recovered soon. I have several missions for you. This facility appears to be on an intercept course with Galactic Federation HQ. If what Madeline Bergman said is correct, there's a distinct possibility that this is the start of an attack by MB against the Federation. One way or another, some sort of attack is clearly imminent. You have to find a way to divert the ship off its intercept course. I've located a survivor in room MW, toward the rear of the bioweapon research center.
Madame Morio.
Whoever it is will be a key witness. Secure the survivor's safety. And defeat Ridley. He's as much of a threat as the Metroids.
Didn't we already defeat Ridley?
And one last word of warning. Madeline Bergman is no ally.
Hold on, Adam. What are you planning to do with the Metroids here in Sector 0?
Leave it to me. I'll deal with this place.
You have a plan for dealing with Metroids that can't be frozen?
Sector 0 has a self-destruct protocol. If the sector receives a significant amount of damage, the unit is programmed to detach and self-destruct. A powerful explosion will eliminate the Metroids and MB without leaving a trace.
Don't you dare, Adam. Let me go in. I'm the only one who has a shot against the Metroids. We have to take the chance. Please, Adam. You have to trust me. You have to trust me. Just give me a chance.
Samus, I wish I could battle Ridley, but I can't.
I swear, didn't we already
Like
defeat
you,
Ridley in this
I'm
game?
no galactic savior.
Like, yeah,
I'm merely human.
Class played this like a few months ago, but I was pretty
But I
certain
can
we
save
killed
you.
him already. Like,
You should be completely healed soon. There isn't much time. We both need to get started on our missions. I'm sorry for getting a little rough with you. Good luck, Samus.
Wait! Adam! Wait! Adam! Please wait!
yeah, I have definitely checked out of this story a long time ago.
No objections. Right, lady?
Tasty cringe, yeah, that is definitely true. Oh boy.
Emergency in Sector 0.
back to what you were saying about Dread there, Bowie. I agree that it's also not my favorite of the Metroid games. Not even my favorite of the 2D ones. That still goes to Fusion. And I also... I still have a soft spot for Super Metroid as well. Like, Super Metroid's often seen as, like,
Adam vanished.
usually the fan favorite of the
My
series,
best friend.
and I can
The
see
person
why,
who
even if it's
understood
not
me
my
best.
favorite. It's hard for a game
The
that's
closest
as
thing
new as
to a
Dread is to
father
kind
I
of
had.
live up to that, like, reputation, but at the
Thoughts
same
swirled through
time,
my
I do
head.
still
I couldn't come to grips with what had
acknowledge a lot of
happened.
the things Dread does. I'm
Such a
just glad
cruel
Dread
way to
brought
say
Metroid
goodbye.
kind of back into, like, the... not the mainstream, because it was never
I
going
was
to be
the
a
only
mainstream
one who
game,
witnessed
but,
Adam's last moment.
like, Dread was
And
still
though it
really
shook me,
popular last year.
I was calmer than I usually am. I think Adam granted me that
At the end
eye
of the
of
day,
the
I'm just glad
storm
the series
clarity,
got,
his
like,
final
proper
gift to me.
recognition for the first time in, like, ever.
There was no time for me to grieve his death, but there was time for me to say, Adam, thank you. Leave the rest to me.
Phew! Samus, you don't even know if he died. He just... seemingly, it feels like it because he practically went off on, like, a suicide mission, but you don't know if he died or not. Well, I guess that one pirate's just screwed. Yeah, this part's pretty cool if I think I remember seeing some stuff about this. Wait. Okay, just initiate the gravity suit right then and there. Also, Ridley theme for some reason. Not sure of the correlation. Now I can probably get some of the items that I was missing there earlier, since I'm no longer affected by gravity.
Sequence complete. Process successful.
Worth noting, if we don't finish the game tonight, I don't want to say make this a shorter stream, because we have been going for like an hour now, but like, I probably will try to wrap it up in like, just shy of an hour, because apparently Mario Party 1 and 2 are supposed to release on the Switch in like an hour or so, and I'd like to get at least a game of one of those in before I go to bed. So, what kind of door is this? It's a nothing door. Yeah, you're still deader than dead. Or nope, you're not deader than dead yet. I was gonna say, there's no way this guy is down for the count after just that. Why couldn't we have had this tacked onto the previous phase of Nightmare? will say, actually, this is a weird time to bring this up here, but I'm thinking about this just because I'm relying on the turn shots a lot, but one problem I actually had with Metroid Dread is that for as much as I liked using the missiles in those games, I was always kind of the person who liked using my beam if I could get away with it. And in most Metroid games, I usually didn't have too much problem just relying on the beam, but I just felt like the beams were just a little too weak in Dread. Like, I'm talking in particular against most of the bosses, but you really were just using missiles more often than not for almost anything in Dread. Using like a Annihilator beam or something here. Black hole here. I wish I could have seen what I was doing there, but sure, we'll roll with that one there, I guess. I'm just realizing his health bar here. This dude has like next to no health anymore, for God's sake. Die before you use some sort of other weirdness here. Thank you. Now can you actually be deader than dead this time? You know what? I think he is actually deader than dead this time. Let's keep it that way. One thing people don't like, it's nightmares. That is definitely a downgrade from his fight in Metroid Fusion, though. That fight was... Okay, if... Why is the gravity field still strong here when... He's loading screen? Oh yeah, I was gonna check this here. Okay, I was right that there was something here. I doubt you can get that early, but, I mean, it's only one missile tank, but it seems like the kind of thing that if this was like an old Super Nintendo game, you would be able to get that early with like a, like, pixel-perfect jump or some crap. Like, I could have seen if this was like Mega Man X or even Super Metroid or something, you would have been able to get something like that with just the... just like a well-timed jump or something. E-recovery tank? Okay, then. Not sure what that was, but sure, we'll take it, I guess. And it seems like we're gonna go to the main elevator. I see the item there. How do I get in there? Like that. I have no idea if that's how I was supposed to get that there, but... I can definitely see the frame rate kind of struggling here. I love long chases, always. Is there a faster way through this here? Yeah, okay, going this way. The way I came in here, this makes a bit more sense here. Secrets in the water here. I don't know how much I care to find them, although, to be fair, the gravity suit is the thing that would make the water stuff a lot better now, and we do have that. I think something I just don't like about this game is, like, I hate saying it, but just straight up using the D-pad, I don't feel like it's very comfortable with this game. Like, I've played a lot of games where I'm fine with using the control stick, like, or using, like, the D-pad for, like, some sort of movement, but... And yeah, I'm not the... Well, there's not really a gravity suit in this, it's just kind of a, like, generic purple aura here, but... Like, I don't know, it's... There's some games I'm fine with using the Wiimote nest, like, held sideways like this. The nest-style Wiimote, as I think people used to call it back in the day. For 2D games, I think it works just fine, but, like, I don't know, for 3D, it just does not feel comfortable at all, really. Then again, I hate saying it, I feel like... Maybe this is a bit of a weird hot take, but... Generally, I think the only Metroid games that I can think of that I don't really mind the controls in are... the Prime Trilogy, the GameCube Prime games, even though I'm like... I can take it or leave it without the GameCube controls, because in some ways they can be a bit tank-like, but I am still used to them.
This elevator is bound
And
for the main
honestly,
sector.
Metroid Fusion is like the only other Metroid game I can think of where, like, I genuinely love the controls in, but, like, I'm not discrediting other Metroid games for being bad or anything like that. If anything, I don't even think... I guess Zero Mission to an extent as well, but... Like... I don't know, the only thing I don't like about Zero Mission, I guess, is the switching of missiles and whatnot, but other than that, I guess it's fine. Physics-wise, it's a little bit heavier than Fusion, but I mean, it's still a fine enough game. So, looks like we're just kind of gonna be returning the way we came here. There's supposedly like a countdown on the switch for the Mario Party stuff. I just want to see where that's at there. I don't think I'm going to stream Mario Party tonight because it will be getting kind of late, but it would be fun to definitely play that at some point. Yeah, see, get the party started in 40 minutes, so yeah, we'll probably wrap things up there in about another little bit. Mini boss here this time? Sure, why not? I approves. These guys, I definitely do not approves. In general, one thing that I think does hold this game back is that the areas, like, the fact there's only like 3 main sectors in this game, I think does kind of hold this back, because in a strange way, it almost just makes it feel lesser than some other Metroid games. Like, you could make the argument, sure, that, like, there's kind of 3 main areas in Metroid Prime 2, and I guess Metroid Prime 3 to some extent as well. Nah, there's more areas in Prime 3 than that. What am I talking about? And I'd say there's more areas than that in Prime 2 as well, debatably. There's kind of like 3 main ones. But, I don't know, it just feels shallow in some ways, having as few areas in this game as there are. Like, I was surprised when we did the first session how long the first sector was taking us, but I don't know, I hate the sound these things are making here. Alright, let's head back to where we started here. Oh god. How did you live this? I swear to God, I genuinely did not know there was another Ridley fight in this game because, for lack of a better word, I've never seen anybody bring this fight up at all. Unless, of course. Unless there's something stronger than Ridley. Alright, let's see what we got. I think we saw these things before at one point. Oh, there's just a dead person there.
James. Huh?
That's not ominous or nothing. Also, this room feels very Metroid Prime-esque. This doesn't really feel like an Other M room, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's just me or not, but... Cutscene, or... Oh, this is still in-game. I mean, I guess it is cutscene, but it's rendered in-game and not CGI. Oh, fun.
Ridley. What could have happened?
Do you care what could have happened? I don't know if I care. I really needed to shoot this thing. Oh god, we're getting... we're getting the Cheerios of Doom here. This should be a familiar sight to anyone who played a Metroid game before. Also, I don't... It sounds like you use the seeker missiles in this game here. There we go. How do you Jesus. Please work. Thank God. I was like, I don't feel like trying to use seeker missiles in a spot where I'm constantly being shot at. That to me sounds like a really terrible idea. Save room. I have a strange feeling we're nearing the end at this point. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but I mean, if we're using stuff from Torian here, I feel like we're probably about nearing the end. Alright. Part of me kind of didn't want to know that answer, but I mean, like I said, I had a suspicion that we were getting pretty close there anyway, so it's fine, honestly. I mean, it's not like I've been caring about this game too much lately, so... Red Hot Cheerios, yeah. Oh, hello.
No.
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 No, you got it wrong.
Stay away. Stay away.
You have to calm down.
Oh god. This seems like a mistake. Did release out. Oh.
Wait.
This is ominous.
Metroid eggs. It can't be.
Alright, just Queen Metroid. I love how I was hit during what appeared to be a cutscene. The auto aim's gonna be trash in this, I can already tell. Come on, game. Oh my god, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Oh my... Oh my god, what is this garbage? This seems like positive hell at this point here. God. I actually did know that the Queen Metroid was in this game, I just... Too many freaking small fries to... Oh my god! This is worse than fighting fish and Metroids in Metroid Prime. I'm sorry to say, this is infinitely worse than that. Oh my god, what? Did he seriously take more than... There's no way these... God. This kind of positively sucks. don't have power bombs yet, do I? I wish I did if I can. God. I'm aware I need to use concentration. I kind of can't use things pop out at any second. And oh my God. No, I'm pretty much as good as dead right here, I think. No, because the game actually gave me enough time to do that? Really? Okay, that actually... did get rid of a few of those, really. I actually got rid of a few more there. Ambush here. Is that it for the Metroids there? Is that it for the Metroids? I mean, besides the obvious big one here, because that was... That was kind of positively ass what I just had to go through there, so... Hoping the rest of this isn't as bad as that, because that was not fun at all. Samus, I don't want to be in ball form here, come on. Charge! Don't know what just happened, but I'll take that. I'm still alive anyway. Okay. What now? More crystals.
Intercept Galactic Federation orbit in approximately 30 seconds. This facility will intercept Galactic Federation orbit in approximately 30 seconds. Nine, 8, 7, 6, Emergency brakes engaged. Brace for impact. Warning. Emergency brakes engaged. Brace for impact.
Okay. What kind of fight do we have on our toes here now? I hope I was meant to do that. Yes, please let me freaking do that. What was I supposed to do there? Okay, well. How am I? Am I just not supposed to grapple there? That seems really, really half-assed to be suddenly asked to like do that there. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm just not supposed to go in the stomach there. That... I don't know, to me this is... What happens if I don't do that here? Am I just gonna get obliterated by something here? Yes, very much so. Okay. No, I'm fine. I'll be fine to figure this out there, Bowie. I have an idea here. Yeah, okay, power bomb is the thing to do there. The game didn't tell me I had access to power bombs, though. Like, that makes sense, but that's also dumb. I'm sorry. Like, makes sense given the context of some other Metroid games, but... we were not given power bombs. That's what I find really, really weird about that. Or I didn't see any authorization. Like, can I do those normally now here? I'm sorry. I think that's a little dumb if you ask me there. Well, I guess we're probably gonna be going this way. Is this just where I came from, or no, it wasn't?
Don't come any closer! Don't come any closer! Stay away from me!
Easy. I won't come any closer until you say so. My name is Samus. I'm an independent bounty hunter. I know the situation here and I know how you must feel. I'm here to secure your safety. May I come closer? What's your role at this facility?
I'm responsible for all operations. My name is Madeline Bergman.
Wait a minute. I met another woman who called herself Madeline Bergman. What's going on here?
What you met was MB. She's an android. She was created with the intellectual data of Mother Brain and consequently developed Mother Brain's consciousness as well.
What?
Mm-hmm.
The Federation's foolish plan. Mother Brain's rampage. Everything that happened here was just as Madeline, or rather MB, had told me. The person who sabotaged the system to stop MB's rampage and sent out the distress call had to be the person standing before me. It had to be Madeline Bergman.
MB was the artificial intelligence originally developed to regenerate and control space pirate special forces. Because we wanted it to control these special forces through telepathy, we were forced to model its infrastructure after Mother Brain. At that time, MB didn't have a human form. Before long, we started to see the viability of creating Metroid clones. Once we did, MB started to take on her current shape.
But why?
Because we needed the first Metroid hatchling to recognize MB as its mother, she had to take on the form of a living thing. With that as our theoretical basis, we were able to create the ideal relationship with the Metroid. One that wasn't based on dominance or control.
I remembered the baby hatching before my eyes. When it attacked Mother Brain in order to save me, that was the result of the kind of ideal relationship they were trying to develop with MB. They found the perfect means of control and started propagating Metroids in Sector 0. At the same time, they were conducting genetic manipulation experiments to create unfreezable Metroids. Apparently, the queen I met earlier was the first of these propagated Metroids to mature.
All this Shakespearean lore dump is going on
wanted
here.
to preserve her
Like,
as a control specimen.
sorry, I'm just
So they
kind of
had left
occupying
her
of
genes
something else right
unaltered.
now.
The fact that she'd grow into a queen was something not even Madeline and her team could have predicted. Only special infants had the genetic coding to become queens.
Once our MB was in a human form, she excelled. As an interface between us and them, her skills with personal interaction humanized her to a great extent.
If my theory is correct, this is going to be a groundbreaking multi-system for artificial intelligence.
Her confidence was unwavering, and her ability to learn was greater than we'd expected, but then she developed emotions, then a nascent sense of herself. She began asserting her own thoughts, and her opinions began to contradict ours. It's quite typical for artificial intelligence to evolve as a result of self-analysis. However, there's no precedent for an AI like MB developing emotions. It's possible that her interactions with the Metroids brought it about, but we don't know for sure.
The newly hatched infant took to her like his mother. And perhaps at that moment, MB began to develop a soul. It was all conjecture, but the idea wouldn't leave my mind.
And that was when we decided to alter her AI program.
A human-like existence, but one without feelings. To make MB less than human, the researchers had to deny her that consciousness. I knew this, but in my heart, I felt sympathy for MB.
On the day we were going to alter MB's program, right before my eyes, I watched her being restrained, Stop! What are you doing to her?
These orders are from above. Take her away.
Wait! She reached out to me and asked me for help, but there was nothing I could do.
What's happening?
My presence that day caused a disturbing reaction in her. She was fixated on me.
Madeline had taken to calling MB Melissa. She took the initials MB and told the AI they stood for Melissa Bergman.
It looks great on you.
MB liked that name. It made it sound like Madeline was calling her her daughter.
Plot twist that really was not so subtle here.
Once she felt abandoned and hunted by that same Madeline, MB telepathically commanded the Special Forces to revolt. The facility fell into complete chaos.
I feel like so much of tonight was just cutscene.
And suffered widespread damage.
A lot of the earlier scenes I didn't think were, or a lot of the earlier parts of Netherrealm I didn't think were this cutscene heavy, but yeah.
MB was trying to get revenge on the Federation Army. And on us. It's possible all humans have become the target of her hatred.
With the space pirates under her control, she was able to propagate the Metroids in Sector 0.
It's not a phase.
Even creating a Queen
you're not
Metroid.
wrong. Hey, Ardo, hope you're...
She was well armed and
good
planning
night.
her attack on the Galactic Federation.
Took down a queen tonight.
Adam and I crushed her plan completely. And now, who could guess where she was and what she planned next?
I also
She's
took down
backed into
a
a corner.
supposedly
And her hatred is
boss that would go on to
entirely
become one of the
focused on
hardest
you and me
bosses
right
in
now.
Fusion.
MB!
Oh boy.
Wait, MB, calm down. Please listen.
Madeline, step back!
We were wrong. It's all over.
Madeline!
You are not me.
I was not wrong. The humans were foolish, and I was forced to bring judgment on them. And yet, because of you...
Okay, I'll admit, I usually somewhat have a thing for blonde-haired
You must
androids in
understand
media,
the
but
weight
this
of
is
your
not
crime.
one of them.
You must pay the price for what you've done.
Please, MB. We have to get past this.
No. You will all be judged.
It's okay now. I won't ever fail you again. I promise. I'm so sorry. Melissa. Oh, Melissa, it looks great on you.
Yeah, the Raven Bee
That's your name.
confrontation, that was really badass. I find myself skipping a lot of that cutscene because it's a hard as hell boss fight that you end up watching a lot, but...
Melissa!
Let's go! Move! Oh boy. Don't move! She also just gives me like the same sort of vibe as like a... I'm talking about MB here, but it gives me the same kind of vibe as like a Resident Evil villain, but without the hand that makes most Resident Evil villains work. Oh yeah, I can see the Lynn's Minato character as well. I haven't played much of that game, but I played at least a little bit of it. Kind of who Lynn was and who he was. I remember when X was first shown off. It was like some special direct they had going over just like gameplay of that game, and remember at first some people thought that she was like a cat girl because her hair being coming out of her and kind of looked like cat ears a little bit.
Madeline, stay close to me!
Can I, like, not do this in the... Could I have not done this in the freaking first person here? Yes, it involves the other guys in the Federation as well. Oh, I see it.
Stop!
Once for all a ruse. Well, that's one way to kill an android.
No!
Definitely anticlimactic killing death, alright.
Stop! Don't move!
Melissa!
Hey, are you okay? Hey, hang down over there too. I'm getting you out of here.
So, Miss Aaron, I heard what happened. You performed admirably. You can leave the rest to us.
If we weren't, like, at the end of this story, I'd say this guy looks like he'd be, like, a new main villain right here.
Madeline!
Wait, Aaron.
Just that scumbag.
Unfortunate what happened to Commander Malkovich. And to think that his entire unit was annihilated. truly a tragic.
It doesn't even really show what happened with Adam. It's only
Would
really
you
implied that he
agree,
went off to die, but, like...
Sadly,
God,
with
this...
them gone, you're just an outsider. And given your unofficial status, I cannot allow you contact with the witness.
Wasn't she the one in the
With your
Federation who
predilection for transporting illegal
basically
cargo
saved
like
the Earth and, like, the
Metroid?
universe how many times
I
previously?
must ask that you restrict your...
Planet Zebes
Time for the
twice,
lady to go home.
SR-388
Someone escort
once.
Yes, sir.
If the Prime Trilogy is canon, numerous planets
for us
there,
to go.
including
Come on, princess.
Phase, which was a
What?
like poison
Stop
that
right
could
there.
literally kill entire
Who are
planets
you?
right there. Like, what is this?
Anthony Higgs, sir. Galactic
Oh.
Federation Platoon 7.
Anthony
I need to
lives.
secure the safety of any survivors, Commander Malkovich's orders, and the purpose of this mission.
What?
Authorized by the chairman of the Galactic Federation. Of course.
What do you mean, the chairman?
But man, you guys made it here quick. I mean, if I hadn't stopped the engines, we might have missed each other.
This certainly
Crazy.
was a game, alright.
Crazy how something good can come out of something bad.
I agree, Anthony. Crazy how you're like the only good part of this game.
Whoa, didn't mean to wake her. Guess I ought to be quiet.
Anthony was trying to be courteous to Madeline. She was exhausted and had only just fallen asleep. She needed the rest. She had a lot of explaining to do once she got to Galactic Federation headquarters. For herself and for Melissa.
Still can't get my head around it. What a crazy mission.
Anthony sighed as he muttered to himself. What would have happened if we hadn't been called there?
This is actually a really pretty looking shot here.
Might the furious MB have attacked the Galactic Federation and
This
brought
really
about
does,
its utter
like,
destruction?
Feel like one of those games that, like,
Melissa
push
wasn't
the
insane.
Wii's,
No.
like,
One
graphic
day,
power
a
with limits.
consciousness
I think that's
simply
something
bloomed
that this
within
game was
her.
always kind of praised for.
And those that caused it to
But at the
bloom,
same time,
the humans.
I kind of also
called
could
it
say the same for
insanity.
Prime 3 for different reasons,
I
and I
was
think
the
Prime
insane
3...
That was what Madeline muttered
Prime 3
softly
doesn't
as
go,
she
like,
sank into
full
sleep.
super CGI, but it has
The
really,
selfish
really...
conceits of humans drove
It's still a
envy
really
to
good-looking Wii
violence.
game. This
It was their distorted
feels like it was made
perceptions
with an
and
HD
greed that
system
awoke
in
such
mind,
fury in the
but
fledgling girl's heart.
downscaled down to Wii.
Her thought was to punish the foolish and conceited. But MB could not complete her mission. As Melissa,
That being said, unlike
she
Prime
was
3, I also
defeated.
don't think a remaster of this game is needed, because...
With their one
I don't know, I don't think
vulnerability
this game
overcome,
looking prettier would
the
fix
Metroids were indestructible.
everything else that we could say about
If
this
some
game.
fool just following orders had taken the savage creatures to those who sought them. I can't imagine what would have happened if Adam hadn't recognized the looming danger. But the cost was far too great. Why did Adam have to pay with his life? For
Why
me,
couldn't we have seen an actual sacrifice from
believe he
Adam?
was
Like,
dead.
it's implied that he
For
was
the
going
first
off on a
time,
suicide mission
I
at that point,
questioned
but, like,
his choice.
it's not really shown, it's only really implied, and I don't know, I don't really like stories like that, I guess. I don't know, I was kind of talking over a lot of that scene earlier, because this
No objections, right, lady?
just...
I heard Adam's voice in my head. And I knew in my heart that he had made the right decision. just as he had so many years ago. In that moment, I swore not to grieve his death. And for the first time, I gave him a thumbs up, just in case he was watching over me. His amused expression looked as though he wanted to say something. His face and atoms swirled together. That last smile as Adam drifted away.
I honestly, much as I know this game is canon, even if it doesn't make much sense, like, I would not mind seeing Anthony come back at some point. I feel like out of all characters in Metroid, like, I wouldn't mind seeing that kind of chemistry come back again at some point. But again, I don't know how the heck they would do that. I feel like one of Metroid's biggest qualities is just its isolation factor. And I think that's something that helped, something that really helps games like Super Metroid Fusion and Dread a lot. It's kind of just that feeling of isolation and looming threats around and whatnot. I don't know how exactly they would do. Yeah, Anthony really should come back. Technically there's Quiet Robe as well. I mean, it's debatable whether or not he's still alive or not, but, I mean... Whew. While the credits start rolling, I'm gonna set the N64 app to update right now, because I'm gonna be playing this afterwards. Yoshio Sakamoto, you are very much a legendary game director and producer. Man's made a lot of great Metroid games. It's weird, like... I remember when this game came out, and I remember a lot of people saying this game was a really big deal back then, like... I didn't see that much negative reaction to this game when it was brand new, but I think over time, time wasn't really the kindest to this game. I'm glad to at least have finally experienced it anyway. You know, I don't even know why I wasn't interested in this back in the day, because this game came out when I was like 13 years old. I was massive into the Prime trilogy at this time. Maybe that's why I didn't click with it immediately. Like, I'm not really sure, but then again, there were so many other Wii games at that era anyway. Like, just a few months before this game, we had Mario Galaxy 2. I think the same month as this game, we had Kirby's Epic Yarn, and a few months later, we had Sonic Colors and Donkey Kong Country Returns and the Wii GoldenEye, and so many games that I just, like, 2010 was a massive year for the Wii. But, like, this game definitely has a place in that, but I feel like if you take it out of that kind of general hype area, there was... the gameplay is decent, the level designs... I mentioned this earlier, but I don't really like how... the fact there's only, like, 3 main sectors in the game, I think that does kind of hurt it quite a bit. And yeah, like, I was mentioning this earlier to Bowie there in chat, but, like, I don't mind that, even though Metroid Dread's not my favorite game in the Metroid series, I'm just glad that that game brought the series back into, like, just public interest at all. I don't know how exactly you'd say that, but I'm just glad Dread really helped revive interest in this series, because I feel even bad for Samus Returns. Like, you know, I wish I got to that game sooner than when I did, because I ended up really liking that game a lot as well. I thought thought that said NFT Media Lab for a second. I was like, oh god, no, don't tell me this game time travel back here. Yeah, no, no, they did really good on a lot of things with a lot of the like CGI and the cutscenes and whatnot, but the game, it had a lot of problems otherwise. I think out of all the mainline Metroid games, like, not counting Metroid 1 and 2, this would probably be near my bottom. It's difficult for me to say because I never finished Prime Hunters, and I didn't really like Hunters very much when I tried it, but that was also more than 10 years ago now, so maybe I should try playing Hunters again sometime. I doubt that would be on a stream, though, because I don't want to commit to that right now. There is more to this game, and I'll admit, I do want to do at least one more stream of this, because there's one thing left that I want to do. And, because from what I understand, this game does have a post-game of sorts. And even if that doesn't end up taking too long, I can easily play something else in the meantime. That's not a huge deal, so... One thought that I might even just do this on my own time, because... On one hand, there's a game in the Metroid series I actually wouldn't mind. Okay, you do think it's worth it for... I know the main boss of the post-game anyway. I'll be interested to check that out. I hear that is kind of like one of the highlights. May that man rest in peace. The late, great Satoru Iwata. We definitely did not do great on our item completion, but we shall see. Does this game just not even tell us our item completion, or...?
Ultimately, the decision was made to destroy the bottle ship.
Okay.
A mission that will most likely be carried out in the next day or two. I'm heading toward the bottle ship now. I'm going to rescue something that was left there. Something that can't be replaced.
It's kind of funny that this game does have a post-game, because, like, I don't know, like, Metroid games don't historically have post-games. Not counting, like... Okay, well, now items are just everywhere on our map now, all of a sudden. Can I, like, save at my ship here? Yeah, okay, I can. Like, the only... I wouldn't even really call this a post-game, but, like... Well, I don't count the backtrack stuff. I was gonna say, like, Zero Mission as an epilogue, but that's not really a post-game. That's kind of just an extra part of the story that was added on at the end. So... I don't really call that a post-game, I guess. But I guess you could maybe make the argument that backtrack for items in some of those games was like that. It's... I don't know, really. It's... Other M has warped my mind too much at this point. It's a decent game, all things considered. I'll do at least one more stream of this. I don't know if I'll bother going for all the items or not, because I really don't know how much I care at this point. I was gonna say, though, that, a very, not that I got this game when it was new, but a game that is very near and dear to my heart, and easily, well, it's funny, actually, not my favorite Metroid game, but both my favorite and second favorite Metroid games both turn 20 years old this month. That is crazy. Like, of course, I'm in particular talking about Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion, which I don't actually own a physical copy of Fusion. A part of me wouldn't mind doing some sort of, like, anniversary stream for Prime, but at the same time, I don't know what I would really say about it that I didn't say in my Let's Play, which was only about 2 years ago. And I streamed Fusion last year. I don't really have any real reason to stream that again either. But I may still play those games again at some point soon anyway, maybe just on my own time, because I love both those games dearly. Like, Prime especially. Fusion's my favorite 2D Metroid, but Prime especially is just... That's such an amazing game. I could go back to that pretty much any time. Enough of me sucking up to Metroid Prime here. That's... And I did this already, but... Okay, you know what? I know I already saved anyway, so... Yeah, for now... I think we're gonna call this a stream here. I will be back here hopefully tomorrow. I don't usually stream on Wednesdays, but, Mario Party 1 and 2 apparently are on the N64 online service now, and I wouldn't mind doing some streams of those. And I'm probably gonna be playing those games a lot going forward here in a little bit, so we shall see. I'm always down to play some of those games, and yeah. Oh boy, we have a lot of people online to check out. You know what? Actually, given that one of our hashtags that we were gonna go with, we're gonna raid. I think we've raided Madame Wario not too long ago, but she's streaming what's the game? Disney's Dreamlight Valley? She's streaming that right now, so we'll send some love over to Madame's way, given that they talked about Rome MW earlier, so let's go raid Madame and hope everyone has a great night. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow, if not Thursday, for more Okamiden. We shall see you guys then. Peace out.